Powerful Content Podcast, your go-to source for content creation, strategy, and business inspiration. I'm your host, Mel Daniels, content strategist, coach, and speaker, empowering women across the globe to grow their business with powerful content that connects, nurtures, and converts. So, if you're ready to create standout content that gets you noticed and remembered, or build an aligned audience who love you and are ready to buy from you, you're in the right place. I believe that content has the power to connect us all. It's up to you how you use it. Listen in for genuine and insightful chats with guests, as well as practical tools and strategies from me. It's so lovely to have you here. Let's dive into the show. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to episode 88 of the Powerful Content Podcast. Thank you for being here. I love creating this content for you. So if you're enjoying it, I'd really appreciate a rating and a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, so more beautiful, impact-driven entrepreneurs like yourself can find this content too. Speaking of loving creating content, in just under 3 weeks, I'll be running my workshops Banish the Blank Screen, where over the course of 2 90-minute workshops, I'm going to show you my own personal secret to filling my content calendar before the year even starts. Plus, I'm going to help you plan your first 90 days. I'll also be throwing in a bonus to help you maximize the use of AI when it comes to content ideation as well. It's such a huge weight off my mind every January, knowing that I'm going into the next year fully sorted with all of my content ideas, headlines, and themes for every single month. That's like 26 blog ideas and 26 podcast ideas sorted before the year even starts. #winning in my books. So if you'd like to be able to feel more inspired and motivated to connect with your ideal client, or know exactly what you need to say and when, and save so much time and energy, and never look at a blank screen again, then I would love for you to come and join us. The link is in the show notes to register for the workshops. Now, having enough ideas to fill your content calendar is the very first step to easy content creation. Once you have all of those ideas that are floating around in your head on paper and put them together in a way that really helps not only you, but your ideal client go on that journey with you, so that they understand exactly who you are and what you stand for, but also how you can help create them a better or different life for themselves and those around them. And this is where so many people get stuck. There's no real thread to what they create. There's no real understanding of leading their ideal client on a journey from not knowing anything about them all the way through to becoming a raving fan. And there's no framework to support them to be consistent with their content either. So before you dive into creating any content, I really want you to know these 4 things first. Number 1, you're going to get the absolute best results you possibly can from your content and from this planning process if you go as granular as possible. So take goal setting for an example. The more you break down your goal, the easier it is to action. If I say to myself, I want to earn $100,000 in my business next year, that's a big goal, but it doesn't actually mean much unless I break it down into easier, more actionable steps. The second thing is a content plan, like any plan in life, is flexible. It's not set in stone. So many people resist content planning simply because they feel like once they put it down on paper, then it can't change. And that's so not the truth. Flexibility is the name of the game. The third thing is, and I say this a lot, I know, but I really want you to be mindful of your time, your energy, and your resources. We are all in different seasons of life. We are all capable of doing different things. We all have a different amount of time available to invest in our businesses, invest in our content. We all definitely have different amounts of energy when it comes to creating content. And we all have different resources available to us, whether that's money or team members to be able to help us out. So once we acknowledge and we accept that we have a finite amount of time, energy, and resources, then we can really move forward with a plan that suits us, not a plan that suits someone else. And the last thing is know your strengths. If you haven't already done so, pop over to my quiz down in the show notes and find out what your content creator archetype is so that you can create content in line with what you love and what you're good at as well. Okay, so what's the answer here? I can hear you saying, where's my template, Mel? Where's my template for the easiest content plan in the world? But the easiest content plan has nothing to do with the template itself. Sorry, it's got nothing to do with the way it's set out or the level of information that's contained within it. Now, I recently joined one of those email marketing bundles. You know, the ones where a whole heap of people get together to provide free resources around a particular topic, and you sign up for the things and then you get 10,000 emails and you go through 10,000 funnels. Well, I decided to join one of those recently for market research purposes to see how people were delivering their content and to find some new people to follow as well. I knew at the outset that my inbox would swell beyond belief, so I decided to be an action taker and binge all of the free content and then quickly unsubscribe to anyone who didn't teach me something new or change my perspective. Anyway, long story short, is that 2 of the people I signed up to had content marketing systems. And holy dooly, talk about complex, talk about confusing, even for a spreadsheet loving person like myself who gets content and gets content marketing. It was really, really overwhelming. One system had 6 different spreadsheets plus training to go with each of them on how to actually use them. So I get that content planning can be confusing and that downloading all the free templates out there for content calendars and content plans can cause so much overwhelm that it sends you into a place of inaction, which makes you feel like a failure and you'll never be able to create content again. But my advice is use these plans and use these templates as a guide to build your own, because you're more likely to use it if you create it and understand it. Delete those columns that are confusing, add rows where you need to, make it look pretty if that helps. Whilst I know it would be an easy way to build my email list, this is the exact reason why I don't offer content plans or content calendars as a free download. I do, however, have a simple content calendar inside of my membership, as I know that the members who use it understand the foundations of content marketing and will end up using it in a way that serves them, not confuses them. So that's the first thing that I want to say. Make a content plan your own to make it easy. The second thing is know your strengths. As I mentioned earlier, all of the facets of your content should be driven by your strengths. Where you play, what tools you use, how you like to create, whether you like to plan, it all comes down to your preferences. Because when we start doing things simply because other experts have told us we should in order to be successful, guess what? It becomes hard work. If you have taken my content creator archetype quiz, you'll know that there's certain things that light you up and there's other things that feel hard and heavy. The same goes for planning. So the planner archetypes out there, like me, will love to create plans that are really granular and go in depth into exactly the type of content they're going to create. They'll relish being organized and really want to stick to the plan to help them feel in control. That's me. The free spirits will absolutely balk at the idea of having any plan in place, as that really feels like hard work, as they love to create content when they are in creative flow or when they feel really inspired. So for the free spirits out there, I really recommend taking it back a couple of steps, really making sure that they have all of their initial ideas out of their head and onto paper. That way, if they feel inspired to create, at least they have a starting point. And secondly, to do a 90-day content plan. It's high level enough to be strategic and help formulate a purpose for your content, but not too long in terms of preparation time or outlook into the future to feel daunting or overwhelming. So I would love for my free spirits to give that a go. My observers will relish the opportunity to become better content planners. As someone who likes to sit back and watch what others are doing, when they find the right format And remember, the right format is not necessarily what someone else has put together, it's what's right for you. Then the observers will be straight into it as long as they've watched a training video or are with someone that can give them step-by-step instructions. And lastly, my collectors out there, well, this is your sign. This is your sign to stop downloading every content planning system that comes your way. It's time to use your knowledge of what everyone else is doing and pick one that feels right for you, and then adapt it if necessary. With a bit of accountability, the collectors can definitely become great content planners. We just need to minimize those distractions. And this is another great reason why my upcoming workshops are absolutely perfect for any content creator archetype. No matter how you like to create, no matter how you like to plan, you'll be able to get all of the ideas out of your head for an entire year and start putting them into a repeatable framework that you can use to make sure that your content is actually purposeful and powerful. So the next thing that I want to talk about is starting at the top. So the easiest content plan in the world is one that follows a framework that works best for you. We know that already. Having said this, I've found through working with clients one-on-one and members of the Content Effect as well, that consistent, easy content is the result of working from the top with your content and following the content creation blueprint. That's all about the 4 Ps that I love to talk about all the time as well. Prepare, plan, produce, and process. And more specifically, this is focused primarily on your core content first. That's your blog, your podcast, or your video, before you even start thinking about social media or email marketing. So these 4 Ps are all about being prepared. So that's having all of the ideas out of your head. We've spoken about that already. It's about having the plan in place. So thinking about which level of planning best works for you, whether that's a 90-day content plan, whether that's monthly, or whether you go even more granular into a daily content calendar. And then the next P is produce. So that's actually creating the blog, the podcast, or the video. And then the last P, process, is all around reimagination and mapping out exactly all the steps in your content creation journey. So then, and only then, once you've created your core piece of content, can you then go on to create social media content and email marketing content as well. Super easy, right? So let's just talk about reimagination for a moment. So just like I mentioned, reimagination is going to fill your content plan to the absolute brim. And I feel like I mention this every single podcast, but reimagination is truly the easiest way to create content without creating more content. So episode 10 is the one you want to go back and listen to if you're curious to hear more about the power of reimagination. And side note here, make sure that you subscribe to the podcast on the app that you're using right now, as I'll be releasing a behind the scenes episode shortly on how I reimagine my content and how I feel like I've actually got too much content to share with you, even though I don't maximize my podcast reimagining as of yet. And if you want to know how you can use reimagination to create content for your socials quickly and easily and fill out a social media plan, then go back to episode 8, Simple Social Media Plan Sorted, to find out a really easy way to look at your social media content strategically. Anyway, back to my point here. Once you've created one piece of content, and it could be, like me, a fortnightly blog that's just 500 words, super simple, super easy, then by using the power of reimagination, you have more than enough content to use in the rest of your content ecosystem. So those 4 things again that I recommend that you do to fill your content plan and make it the best content plan for you and your business is to make it your own, know your strengths and use them to your advantage. Start at the top and work down, and then use that power of reimagination. And if you'd love to be able to dive into 2024 with a strong content plan, then having all of the ideas out of your head and onto paper is going to help you dive straight in and make your content planning super quick and super simple. Head on down to the show notes to join my workshop series, Banish the Blank Screen, that will show you exactly how to use your brain, the resources at your disposal, and AI to come up with a year's worth of content ideas. You'll cruise into the new year feeling inspired and motivated to connect with your ideal client confident that it'll be your year to make visibility and consistency easy. I hope to see you there. Talk soon. Thanks so much for listening. That's it for another week. To get more powerful content in your life, make sure you're following along on socials. My handle is @meldbusiness. And just in case you're wondering, the groovy music for this podcast was created by Just Here on SoundCloud. I'd also be super grateful if you took a moment to rate and review this podcast so more amazing women like you can experience the power of content. And if you're like, hell Mel, stop talking, I'm ready to work with you now, here's how we can work some powerful content magic together. Firstly, come and join the Content Effect, my membership inspiring women with service-based businesses to ditch the content chaos and start creating stand-out content that gets you noticed and makes sales. You can join us by using the link in the show notes or just Google the Content Effect. The second way we can work together is via my one-on-one packages. We can create a sustainable content strategy or start to build out your client journey. It's up to you. Pop on over to meldbusinessservices.com.au/services to find out more. Until next time, have a beautiful week and embrace the power of your content.